Hello, everyone. How are you all doing today? It's so good to see everyone again. So if you don't know me, my name is Melissa Allen. I'm Executive Director of League of Innovators, an amazing national accelerator program for youth under 30 who want to start, launch, and scale their businesses. And I'd love to, at this moment, bring up our judges. So we have 2 judges from last time and a special guest. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Melissa. How you doing?
Good. Nice to see you. And here's our special guest, Tara and Manny. Amazing. So you might remember from last time, June 14th, when we had our very first Stonks event where we raised almost $4 million. We had 2 amazing judges. So Ryan Holmes, founder of Hootsuite, co-founder of LOI Venture, and of course, founder of League of Innovators. And we had Manny, who is the co-founder and managing director of LOI Venture, among a million other amazing businesses. And we have Tara, who is the founder of SmartSweets and is an incredible founder and League of Innovators alumni. How are you all doing today?
Super.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. And you know what? I have one question for each of you. So what are you looking forward to most about today's pitch event? Okay, we'll start with you, Ryan.
We're all being so
We're all too nice waiting for everyone else.
Yeah, I'm always excited to see the entrepreneurs, see how they're thinking about things. It's such a cop-out, but I truly do get excited every time we have these events, and I love hearing from young entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. How about you, Manny?
I'm excited just because I've seen some of these companies before, and I think they've done such a great job from where they started to where they are now. So just seeing the updates and seeing where they're getting to is amazing.
Awesome. And last but not least, Tara, what are you looking forward to most today?
I am just honored to be part of an event supporting other young entrepreneurs. So excited to see the energy and just support other amazing young entrepreneurs.
Awesome, of course. And, you know, I'm looking forward just to hear all of these pitches come together. You know, we've been working hard with the founders, getting the pitches ready, prepping them. We have some incredible presentations. But before we get into that, I'd like to just go over how the Stonks platform works. Just remember 3 things, and this is for everybody out there. So the first thing first is a founder will come on stage. They're going to pitch for about 4 minutes, followed by 5 minutes of Q&A. During this time, you can either request an intro, and there's a button for that underneath the window, or you can request to do an investment and then type in your investment amount. And then after that, the third thing to remember is that at the end of this event, you'll get an email notifying you that you will get a follow-up from the founders themselves. So just remember that. Get your hands ready to make those investments and to request those intros, and we can begin. So without further ado, let's start with our first presentation, our first pitch. So this founder and his startup, they are going to give Wall Street bets a run for their money, literally. So let's welcome to the stage Max, the CEO and founder of Blossom Social.
All right. Hi, Stonks and Dragons. As Melissa introed, my name is Max, and I'm the CEO of Blossom. Let me start my pitch with a story. You're new to the stock market. You just downloaded a stock trading app, but you don't know where to start. You open up Reddit and Twitter to ask others what you should invest in, and you get bombarded with judgmental, inaccurate, and bad advice from anonymous users like Dazzling Asparagus 47. That's a real Reddit username. You finally find someone who looks credible, join a Discord, and you end up getting scammed. This is the experience for most new Canadian investors today. Investing is a scary place. Gen Z and millennials are desperate for community, but all the communities on the internet for investors suck because they aren't tied to real investing activity and you don't know who to trust. This story isn't a one-off. In fact, Gen Z and millennial investors are 3 times more likely to go to friends and online communities for advice than financial advisors. This is a generational shift that's here to stay. Now imagine if that stock trading app that you downloaded had a community embedded. tailor-made for investors that lets you see the real portfolios, trades, and performance of friends and other Canadians. Now you don't have to invest alone. This is Blossom. Blossom is building Canada's first social brokerage, combining mobile-first stock trading with a social community for investors. So let me show you how it works. Well, first, you open up your brokerage account with Blossom so you can buy and sell stocks. On Blossom, your portfolio is your profile with a public pie chart of your holdings by percentage allocation. And when you place a trade, you can easily share it to the feed with your rationale to your friends and the rest of the community. So where are we today? Well, everything I mentioned till now is live, except for the actual buying and selling of stocks. Right now, Blossom links to a user's existing brokerage account, but we're hard at work becoming a full service brokerage. And since we launched, we've been growing fast. Over the last 5 months, we 10x'd from 250 users to nearly 2,500 with a 55% monthly growth rate. We have a strong base of engaged users with 13 million in linked assets from their brokerage accounts. Okay, so why is this a good business opportunity? Well, the Canadian brokerage space is a $25 billion market with strong growth. Can you build $1 billion business here in Canada? Absolutely. Wealthsimple is worth $5 billion. And the rest of the market is dominated by slow-moving big banks that struggle to innovate. So how do we win in this market? Well, I think we're all sick of the competitive analysis slides that show the startup winning in every dimension. So let me make it simple. To believe in Blossom, you need to believe that the social community is a strong enough differentiator to capture market share. Plain and simple. And don't worry, I have more evidence than the classic Reddit trust me bro. In US, public.com used this strategy to build a $1.2 billion business in less than 2 years, growing to over 1 million users. And that is rapid fast. So how do we grow that fast? Well, most of our growth to date has been organic, but our next phase of growth is through influencers. Brandon Beavis, one of Canada's biggest investing YouTubers, has taken a major role with Blossom, investing in our round and coming on the team to lead our influencer program. So we truly have deep expertise in this arena. In September, Brandon posted one video and we got over 600 signups in less than 3 days. How do we make money? Well, this isn't anything fancy. We make money the same as Wealthsimple via a currency exchange fee. This isn't where we're innovating on, so why change what works? Moving to our team. In my unbiased opinion, our team is the best in the game, with backgrounds from McKinsey, Samsung, and TD. We also get the Gen Z and millennial demographic because, as you can tell, we aren't boomers. The only people more impressive than our team are our investors, with investing influencers, folks from Google, McKinsey, alongside our lovely host, LOI Venture. In fact, we actually just finalized an oversubscribed round and we're ready to close, but I've heard that the Stonks investors are top notch, so we're extending the round for this group before we wrap up and get back to building. And that's the pitch. Join Team Blossom, and together, let's make investing more accessible for all.
All right. So I couldn't help but notice that LOI Venture, Manny, Ryan, you are investors. So just a reminder for all of you out there, get your diamond hands ready. Hit the commit button, hit the request for a meeting button, because Blossom Social, definitely going to the moon. So with that, I'd love to hear from the judges, their Q&A.
Melissa, you've got your memes down so well. I love it.
I know.
I have a lot of time on my hands, apparently.
I'm sure you do. Tara, you're the special guest today. Would you like to kick it off with a question to Max?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, congrats on your adventure. I love how the whole concept and even the branding and the colors that you chose, it makes investing and it feels accessible and not intimidating, which is something that really resonated. One question that came to mind was, are you guys the first in Canada to tackle this? And if not, what differs in your value proposition than others?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tara. So the biggest other social sort of platform for investors, I think, in Canada is one called CEO.ca. It's a great platform, but it's definitely tailored to a more older demographic, and most of the discussion is around mining stocks. So I don't see them as like a major competitor. And we're the first in Canada that actually links to a brokerage and provides real data and real activity behind all of the posts, which if you look on our App Store reviews, that's definitely the biggest value prop. So, in Canada, we're also competing ultimately with Twitter, with Reddit, with all these other platforms where investors can go to find community. But because we actually are tied to real activity and building for investors, that's sort of our differentiator. None of the other brokerages in Canada have any social features. So on that dynamic, that's why we call ourselves the first social brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So Max, I had a question around your influencer strategy. We're seeing so many businesses that are being built through influencers and building community and then applying a business model to it. So how scalable do you think the influencer model is going to be for you through Canada?
Yeah. The way that I think about our growth strategy is almost through phases. So like our first growth up till 2000 is like through organic and through word of mouth. Like that also isn't scalable. And our next phase of growth through influencers, this is a big channel. I think it's scalable up into a point. I mean, Brandon Beavis has 200,000 subscribers. Some of these others, 50. We can probably get to 250, 300,000 folks from that channel. But ultimately, then you need to adapt and sort of find a new channel once you go from 0 to 10, then 10 to 100, so 100. So I'm not saying this is necessarily like the channel that's going to get us to 1 million folks, but it's definitely the best channel for our next phase of growth. And the other thing is, like, as a community, I sort of skimmed over this, but not only is it the best channel for quantity, but the quality of users that come from some of these influencer folks is wild. Like, the retention rate is almost double because they have like almost a presence that they're coming to the app for. And Brandon Beavis, Robin made a post. He's another YouTuber. He got like 50 likes in like an hour. I didn't even know that was possible in our community yet. But it's definitely for the next phase, what we need.
Max, it sounds like the roadmap is Canada. Is US on that roadmap at all?
Yeah, so the one slide where I sort of say, yeah, we can build $1 billion business in Canada, I think that's important, right? And if you look at Wealthsimple, they're sort of another business in this strategy. They've grown to 5 billion. Basically, once you grow to a certain level, you have two options. You can either expand to other verticals or you can expand to other geographies. My hypothesis is that expanding to other verticals probably makes the most sense, almost becoming more of a neobank and introducing more banking products, which is, one of the biggest industries in Canada. And that's where the big opportunity is. But I could be wrong. And it could be that we come to that point and it actually makes sense to either expand to other geographies, white label the social technology to other brokerages in other countries. The only thing that's challenging, obviously, in this business is it is like you are operating in a regulatory space. So it's not as simple as like a SaaS model where you can just expand. But that also creates nice barriers to entry. So it's sort of a pro and con.
Great.
Max, are you monetizing right now? I know you have the model of like the foreign exchange fees. Is it currently monetized?
Yeah, so that's just sort of the big opportunity that comes when we become a brokerage. In the short term, we've started making revenue through a feature on our app called Learn and Earn, which is more or less we partner with stocks and different companies to offer short lessons to our users. It actually allows us to give free money for users. So if you download the Blossom app, you can earn $6 to learn about a stock. And then that company pays us to feature that lesson. We made $6,000 in revenue last month. We have another $6,000 lined up. We make 60% margin on that. But that ultimately isn't, I don't think, scalable to $1 billion business. So I see that as sort of the short term. And then the long-term strategy is through the brokerage fees.
Product? Maybe you can talk a little bit about product.
Yeah, for sure. So I highly encourage everyone watching to download the app. I think we have a killer product. Basically, your profile is your portfolio. So that provides just so much more richness. You can think of it like a social feed, almost like a Reddit, but everything is built for investors. And if I post about Twitter, for example, I actually recently bought Twitter before the merger went through. I shared my trade. I shared my rationale. When I place the trade on my brokerage, Blossom detects it and then prompts me to make a post about it. So then it's sort of a nudge, and then I post about it, and then all of my users get a notification that, oh, Max just bought Twitter. And then they can also go in and see, and oh, you know, he's posting about Twitter, that's 10% of his portfolio, 20% of his portfolio. So you can see sort of at a high level, like just by building the social layer on top of the real brokerage activity, there's like an infinite amount more richness than you could ever achieve with like a Reddit or a Discord or some of these other platforms that investors are currently using.
Great. And more technically, sorry, last question, and then I'll
go, Ryan.
But you know how
You're on fire.
In terms of platform support, you're iOS, Android, web-based or not web-based at this point, just mobile? What do you?
Not web-based at this point. We focus mobile first to stay lean.
Okay, great.
I was going to ask, where does this raise take you to next on the roadmap? Where are you building a bridge to in the round?
Yeah, that's a great question, Manny. I think our primary two goals are user growth and becoming a brokerage. So where this takes us to is 10,000 users is our target, and we're well on track. We've hit all of our targets over the last 3 months to where we need to be to hit 10,000 in 7 months. And then our next biggest goal, what we're using probably about 25% of the funds for, is we're working with Osler, one of the top law firms in Canada, to navigate the brokerage requirements. This should bring us to the point where we can file that application. We may need to do another raise in 7 months, just so we have to file for a brokerage. You need to have basically 12 months of runway and minimum capital requirements. So it's not actually cost intensive. They just want you to have that capital in the bank. So basically we'll be ready to file. And then as soon as we raise again, file. And then we estimate we can become a brokerage in about 12 months. That's sort of the timeline. And if you look on our stonks page in the appendix, there's go into more detail about that.
Max, how long did it take you to figure out this regulatory environment?
Sounds so simple. One thing about me, which isn't normally good for startup founder, but I'm a mega nerd. I graduated in economics, top of my social sciences. I got 100% in 6 different courses. So when it comes to economics, I am like very well read and I actually like diving into it. So it's definitely a challenge, but I love that kind of stuff. So
awesome.
Max, being a nerd is a badge of honor at LOI, and wonderful to hear you speak about this today. And Max is representative of a lot of the amazing young founders that come through the program. So excited to see what you're going to do with this, Max.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, great job. So far, we have 1 investment and 9 intros. So I repeat, get those diamond hands ready. Start clicking those buttons, request an intro, make an investment. Again, to the moon. Thank you so much, Max. That was awesome. And now we're going to bring up our second pitch. Super excited about this one. I know her personally. And let me tell you, she slays the basketball court and she's going to slay the courtroom. She has a product that is actually going to take legal tech to the next level. Game changer. So I'd like to welcome to the stage Caroline from Lumos Marketplace. Hey, Caroline.
Hi, everyone. I love the basketball intro. I also like to say I'm a nerd, but I did not get 100% in 6 classes. So, Lumos Marketplace. Oops. So we're improving access to justice by accelerating the adoption of legal tech. So pretend you're a lawyer. You own a small law firm. Oh, sorry, my slides disappeared. Okay. You own a small law firm. Now you need to find software and service providers to handle all your tasks. So you've got client intake, contract review, depositions, and more. And you don't want to spend time on this because, remember, you're billing by the hour. Now, thousands of products have actually come to market for law firms over the past 5 years because the market was nascent. It was an industry that was ripe for disruption. So what's the problem for all these products that have come to market? Well, they can't sell efficiently to the smaller firms because if you got a small firm as a client, it's a small contract, so whatever. So basically, they focus on selling to the bigger firms where they can get big contract values. But this is a problem because they're missing out on literally half of their addressable market because 62% of lawyers are practicing in small firms. And then the sad part is for the law firms, because these are small business owners, they're busy, they're basically left in the dust. And if they don't adopt tech, they're going to get left behind. So these vendors need a scalable way to reach the small firms. So we provide a one-stop shop for law firms to find everything they need to manage their firm And then for the vendors, we hand them qualified leads from the firms so that they don't have to build their own marketing channel. So this is our product. We're launched. We have more than 100 vendors on there. So we have the supply side down. The market, so we take the small firms out of the global legal market, and their spend on tech is 40 billion. We monetize both sides of the marketplace. So we sell the leads to vendors. And then for the law firms, we sell them courses at $299 per course. But the main point of these courses are to drive them to the marketplace. And this is actually our highest leverage distribution channel because lawyers are required to take ongoing education credits. We also white label the marketplace, so we put other people's brand on it, and we put it on other companies' sites that already have traffic from lawyers, so we get their traffic. And then there's lots of industry events, and we have a list of them to sponsor. Okay, so this is the most exciting slide. Just honestly pay attention to this. So all the players in the market right now, they fall into two buckets. Either they're industry agnostic, so not legal specific, or there are other legal tech marketplaces, but they haven't realized how underserved the smaller firms are. They're either focused on all big firms or all of the firms. So we're taking a proven business model and we're just adapting it to the unique buying habits of small firms. We only focus on small firms, so not the big law. And personally, I've been in the legal tech space for 4 years. So I've basically been waiting for this opportunity to come. I was into legal tech before it was cool. So we're raising 100K. We're going to spend a majority of that to acquire a company that already provides courses to lawyers. And then we're going to hire 2 people to do the partnerships. And we have a list of events we're going to sponsor. So this is our team. I'm the sole founder. I've started another legal tech startup. And that's where I recognized the need for marketplaces. That was after graduating law school. And then we have legal professionals, a growth marketer, and a software developer. So next year, success looks like selling 1,000 courses, 2,000 leads to vendors, which is going to generate 500K in revenue. So basically, this whole market right now is about timing because there's a couple players looking to capitalize on it, but we're the only ones that are exclusively focused on these smaller firms.
Amazing, Carly. Thank you so much. Do you have any final words before we throw to the judges? Speaking of law.
No final words.
Amazing. Great job. You're going after a huge market that's incredibly underserved. I'd love to hear from these judges what they think. Take it away, Tara, Ryan, and Manny.
Manny, you want to get in there?
Tara, go ahead to start.
It's good pattern forming. Sounds good. Yeah, congrats on your adventure. The one thing that came to mind, you mentioned that you were in the legal space before and in another legal tech startup. What inspired you to act on this idea?
Well, so I saw all the products being created. So it was a document automation company for estate planning. And so it was pretty early in the market. Like it was quite innovative. There wasn't much legal tech, but then you just saw all these companies popping up for really micro, small problems. And so the industry right now has 1,000 products for these little problems within legal that can all be streamlined. But lawyers, there's so many that lawyers can't even comprehend. They don't even know they're out there.
That makes sense.
In terms of your target market, what would you say are the size law firms you'd be going after? Is it mid-tier, smaller, the big behemoths? Where do you see that going?
Yeah, so that's the most important thing is we're exclusively focused on the small firms. So everything from a solo lawyer, like a solo lawyer is perfect. There's a lot of people that are going solo nowadays. Like it used to, the most sought after career path used to be working in big law. But a lot more people want personal agency nowadays, the same way there's more remote workers, more freelancers. So solo lawyers, and then everything up to law firms with maybe like 200 lawyers. That's even though that's on the bigger end, because they might hire someone to, like a lot of the bigger firms are hiring a person where their sole job is to look for legal tech. But our whole purpose is that smaller firms, you can't afford to hire someone.
Okay, great. And then the question I always ask everyone, how quickly can you get the US?
Yeah, so, well, all our vendors are already like
Okay.
half, because there's so much, and in the UK too, any English-speaking legal country, because Canada has less legal tech, but most of it's in the UK, US, Europe. It's already global.
Okay, great.
Caroline, you're pre-revenue right now, or do you have some revenues?
Yeah, so we have nominal revenue. Like our key revenue that that we're focused on is the scalable selling leads to vendors. We've sold placements on our site to vendors, so we have like some validated showing they're willing to pay. But
of your 500,000 next year, what's the split of vendor versus online education?
So it was like 60-70% that would come from vendors, 30% from courses, and then that company that we have lined up to acquire is doing 50K in revenue, so that will contribute towards it. And then again, like we'll start selling some small placements, so that'll be a bit of the revenue, but it comes from a few different.
How are you acquiring or getting awareness in the law community around what you're doing?
So newsletter, the biggest one, like that is the most important one, is the education, because lawyers are required to take continuing education courses by the Law Society or they get disbarred. So we get our courses accredited and we give those to lawyers, and it'll drive them to the marketplace. So that's a key one. And then a lot of it is like SEO and newsletters. So
and are the courses, is it like a freemium model on the courses? You give them a way to get them in and get their email, or do you like how do you create that initial awareness with them that you have courses to offer?
Yeah, that's exactly what we've been doing lately. So we're starting off with a free guide. So it'll be download a free guide to help help figure out what practice management software you should use. You download the free guide. We're using Thinkific for this. You get a free guide, and then it brings you into the course. You get a free, really mini course, and then it gets you to purchase the full course.
Got it. Okay. I love hearing about Thinkific, one of my early investments, and I did great out of the gates there.
I have a question. Can I jump in?
Yeah.
All right. So I know you have an eye towards the future, Caroline. So what is the end game, or we could call it even an exit strategy? What do you foresee being the opportunity with the Homes marketplace?
Okay, so the first answer to that would be, so I think looking at the whole competitive landscape, there could be an acquisition by one of our competitors who's really focused on big firms, but I know they want the entire market. So they could easily buy us to get the small firms. It could also be someone like Thomson Reuters, that's an obvious one, or it could be someone like that's industry agnostic. So there's so many sites that do software review, and SaaS companies, if you go to a SaaS conference, they will kill for these software reviews. Like they spend money on reputation management, they call it. So one of those companies that want to get more of the legal market.
How are you?
Oh, go ahead, Terry.
Go for it.
Go ahead, Terry.
How are you guys cutting through the noise of all those like thousands of kind of smaller startups you mentioned that are addressing like individual things in the legal space? Is it through kind of intersecting them when they're going back to do their continuing education that's unique, or how are you kind of standing out from all of the noise to acquire?
I wouldn't say, I guess, wait, you're not talking about the company we're acquiring customers, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I would say speaking to their exact pain points. So number one, knowing our decision makers is actually, like, if it's a solo firm, it's the lawyer, but a lot of the time it's actually, they pass it off to the administrative assistant, the office manager, the paralegals. And the companies that do this best are court reporters. They'll send paralegals like flowers on their birthday. So basically we want to make that person feel really special. So that's one way. There's also the education. And yeah, I mean, that's what we're selling to. Oh yeah, sorry. And then the specific pain point. So we give custom content to different people. So one lawyer might really want to add like corporate law to their practice, but they have like practical law, but that's a giant database that they have to do legal research in. We're going to give them a step-by-step guide that includes the legal side of it, but also the business side of it, because lawyers don't have a lot of business acumen. Like they don't learn that in law school. So yeah, addressing their exact pain points.
Have you explored any social content on TikTok or Instagram yet?
Yeah, so we do Instagram. TikTok is a good opportunity. Like there's so many opportunities, but right now I'm just so much about focus. So I want to do the highest leverage things.
Good for you.
Yeah, like obviously there's so many TikTok. Lawyers are on TikTok a lot actually, but that's why I'm focusing on education, because they have to do it. Like we have to focus on a need, not a want. And then the white labeled marketplaces, like we revenue share with other companies. So we'll give them revenue and we make it look like it's their marketplace. And they just stick it on their site, because like law societies, they want to be able to offer resources to help lawyers figure out what software to use. There's
Great.
legal associations, so the partnerships.
It sounds like you have an amazing market opportunity. I think some people have mentioned that as well. And you've got so many ideas. Would you open up a little bit more room? Because I think there's going to be some interest from of these investors if needed.
No, for sure. That's a great question. Like this 100K is very immediate, as in acquiring this company, that was a lot of words, acquiring this company needs to happen quickly. So we want that. Hello. And then, and we can execute really quickly, but there's a bunch of events coming up. So I'm going to sponsor those, but yeah, longer term, we'll raise a full pre-seed round, because our competitors, like they're raising in their pre-seed rounds, just all with slightly different focuses.
Great. Perfect.
Awesome. And we have a comment here from Hillary, who's a VC, and she said that she is super impressed with you, Caroline. You have an excellent grasp of an important market opportunity, and is excited to see what is ahead for Lumos. So well done. Great job.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
And you might have seen my roomie here. I'm here in beautiful Vancouver, crashing with a good friend of mine, Jackie. Hi, everyone. All right. And now let's bring up our third pitch of the day. So he's hailing from Toronto. He also plays basketball. Big fan of F1. And when I hear about the name of the startup, it reminds me of hanging 10 on the waves. Let's welcome Swish from Surf.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me, and yeah, very excited to pitch Surf. Getting right into it, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Surf. My background is very much within media and advertising. So previous to Surf, I ran a very big Instagram account for basketball fans, @Dunk, with my friend Elliot in New York. Did that for about 2 years. We built a media network of over 11 million followers across 21 accounts on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. My co-founder, Aanikh, is an absolute legend. He's the youngest Canadian to have a top 3 charting app. He was 14 years old when he went on Dragon's Den. He got venture funding on the show, eventually went off to Stanford to study management sciences and engineering with a concentration in data science. And he was also an intern at Axiom Zen, which is now the multi-billion-dollar company Dapper Labs, before working at Surf. Andrew's our CTO. He previously co-founded a network security company called Pertino. They raised about 30 million. They were acquired by Cradlepoint, and at Cradlepoint, Andrew spent about 4 years as their head of software architecture, managing a 400-person development team and a $100 million ARR budget before Cradlepoint sold to Ericsson for 1.3 billion. He also has 8 patents within the web traffic space, everything from deep packet inspection to mobile content categorization, which is very directly in line with what we're doing with Surf. Trevor and Marco round out our exec team. They both individually have over 10 years of experience in their individual discipline. We are an overall team of 21 people full-time, fully remote team across Canada. In terms of our vision, I just like starting here always. The consumer front is pretty straightforward. We want consumers to be able to monetize any aspect of the digital footprint. So whether you're sharing browsing data, app usage data, fitness data, purchasing data, any data you're sharing that is making a third-party company money, we believe that you deserve a kickback from that. Obviously, right now, we're starting very solely with browsing data. By the end of the year, we'll have our mobile solution out, which will also be able to allow us to tap into app usage data as well. And the enterprise side, we see a privacy conscious and cookieless world coming up. You have cookies that are gone on Safari and Firefox, and they're going away on Chrome next year. You have the Apple iOS 14.5 changes that have crippled mobile advertising altogether. And you also have regulation like GDPR and CCPA that has come to the forefront and made opt-in data even more important. So in this world, we want to be a data partner to some of the world's biggest enterprises and help them navigate this line in this land. Twilio had a really good study. They found that 81% of Fortune 5000 companies are dependent on third-party data, so traffic panels, cookies, trackers, etc. And 55% of companies say they're not ready for a cookieless world, which is literally coming up next year. So in terms of our products, we have two. There's a consumer product and an enterprise product. The consumer product is a browser extension right now that operates on any major web browser: Safari, Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Brave, Microsoft Edge. So I hope you're not using Microsoft Edge. But there's 4 key aspects to the consumer product. Number 1, there's tangible compensation for your data. When people get points for browsing the internet like they normally do, they can use those points for items, gift cards, discounts, giveaways, donations, etc. Secondly is passively rewarding users. We don't require people to take surveys, watch ads, or click specific links in order to get rewarded. Thirdly, there's full transparency and control over what data is being shared from day one. So we don't take any personally identifiable info from our users. We don't even ask them for their first and last name when they sign up for Surf. All we ask for is their age, their gender, their location, high-level demographic information that allows us to bucket you appropriately when we do sell your data. And by the way, we do tell people upfront what data we do collect, what data we don't collect, and how brands are viewing your data when they see it. And finally, is flexibility. You can use Surf on any major web browser, like I said, with a VPN or ad block turned on, and we are coming soon to mobile by the end of this year. On the brand side, we have an analytics platform with 3 types of data in it: social data, giveaway data, web data, which has 3 really interesting use cases for enterprises to explore. You can slice and dice your social audience to find your most engaged and influential followers to activate. You can run giveaways on our platform that our Surf users can use their points to enter into and participate in. And if people want additional entries, they can actually provide their email or their phone number for additional entries and a higher likelihood to win. All those emails, all those phone numbers go into our platform where, once again, a brand can slice and dice their audience to find people to activate through email or through text. And finally is web data. If you want to understand 20 to 24-year-old males in Toronto, what the top publications they're reading, the places they shop at, the streamers they follow, the videos they watch, the searches they make on Google or the searches they make on TikTok, that's the type of understanding that you can learn through our platform. On the traction side, we're at 1.3 million USD in annual recurring revenue right now. We have about 50 enterprises that are paying for our analytics platform, including Netflix, L'Oreal, EA, Amazon Prime Gaming, etc. These customers are mainly paying on a 12 to 24-month agreement upfront. On the consumer side, I made this deck a week ago, so this is actually a little bit outdated. We just crossed 200,000 users now. We're moving quite quickly on the consumer front. We about 4.8 out of 5 across 18,000 plus reviews. 81% of our users are daily active, and we have a very low uninstall rate since launch. On the kind of overall market, we're very focused right now on the consumer insights market, which is a $2 billion market, but obviously it plays within a much bigger data analytics and marketing budget that looks like about $1 trillion in the grand scheme of things. On the competition side, there are other platforms, obviously, that are in the zero-party data space. We differ from them in 2 aspects. Number 1, on the consumer insight side, we are providing an analytics platform that some companies like Brave do not offer because they're mainly leveraging brand relationships to get advertisers on board and not provide them data. The second thing is, on the consumer front, we passively reward users. So we don't require you to take surveys or click specific links or watch ads like you have to do on Caden or on Brave. In terms of our funding round, we're raising 6 million USD. We previously raised 4 million from past investors that include Round 13, Moneta, celebrities like Cody Ko and Kyle Kuzma, and founders like Raham from Dapper Labs, Jason from DraftKings, and Michelle from Clearco. Our use of funds, we're going to be deploying our funds to be able to get our mobile solution out by the end of this year, ramp up paid marketing, expand Surf to a few new regions, because right now we're only available in North America, but we do have a wait list of over 30,000 people globally. And finally, expanding our team, especially our sales team, which is only currently 2 people. We've been quite capital efficient thus far. We intend to do so even after this round, but we want to make sure that we can add a couple more bodies to our sales team to help with lead generation and having a bigger bandwidth to take on more calls per week. And that's all. Thanks so much for listening.
Swish, just letting you know, you're one of my favorite people. But I gotta say, somebody was talking a little bit of smack about your jump shot backstage. I'll let that person out who they are. So
Yeah,
it was definitely
it was definitely Tara. Yeah.
I nearly spit out my water. It was amazing. And Ryan, you like to say that when there's a big trend, like a big wave, one of the biggest advantages you can have is I'm sure your jump shot is great. Anyways, one of the best things you can do as a founder is to ride that wave. So I think we should all ride or surf your wave.
Oh
I
my
had to get the pun in.
Cue the surf puns.
All right, I'll leave now. I'll see myself
That
out.
could be a joke for Ryan and I, the dad jokes now.
Yeah.
Come on, Melissa. You got time.
I had to.
Swish, I love that. I love your presentation, your deck, super crisp. For those aspiring entrepreneurs out there watching today, we at LOI we've shared this 5 keys to a pitch. Mm-hmm. I think it's shared in the comments. We talk about problems, product, customer, revenue, and talent as the criteria that we're looking at investment through the lens of. Textbook pitch deck there for everybody looking at it. One of the things Swish came out of the gates with was talking about the team, and he's built a great team of really strong players. So take notes. I think we're recording today. I'd recommend people to go back in and just listen a couple times to what Swish was talking about, the clarity of what he was doing and how he presented, because it's really fantastic. And for the investors in LOI, both Manny and myself invested in Swish years ago, and we love what he's doing, and we're going to continue investing in this product, and are going to be rolling our investments into the fund. So I think this is exciting for a lot of our LPs today.
Absolutely. Swish, quick question for you. I noticed a couple markets. What would you say are the top 3 to 4 markets that you want to target next?
So the waitlist, currently the biggest country on the waitlist is the United Kingdom. So I think the UK would make sense. The BBC wrote an article about us a month ago, which went pretty viral. And I think on a consumer product, I find the consumer appetites among Canadians and English people are actually quite similar. So we're pretty excited about being able to get to the UK next. I think the biggest thing is finding local reward partners. So can we bring things like Sainsbury on board? That's like the big grocery chain in the UK. Could we bring Pret? That's like Starbucks in the UK. Could we bring those types of local reward partners on board before we launch in that area?
Great.
I have a question on the consumer product. It seems like you've done an amazing job of getting consumers comfortable with the idea of sharing their daily browsing activity with you. How did you go about that?
I think that's a great question. I think the key thing for us is we lead with 3 values in mind: transparency, privacy, and then compensation. So I know compensation is what tends to appeal to people right away. Like, I could maybe make some money, or I could save some money per month. But I think what people gradually find out, even just through our onboarding process, is that we're incredibly upfront with people about, we collect your data, we'll tell you exactly what data we collect, and we'll give you the tools to manage what you do and don't want to share. Again, if you don't want to manage the data, you don't want to manage the data you're sharing, you don't have to do that. But I think just even having that feature built out where you have a garbage can icon and you can delete anything you don't want to share in the last 24 hours does give people that idea that, okay, Surf is a data partner that's working ideally with my interests in mind. We're also, again, quite transparent in the sense of we don't, again, take any personally identifiable info, no credit card info. We don't even ask you for your first and last name. So we're asking for really information here that isn't invasive at the end of the day.
Amazing.
Sorry, Ryan. I cut off Ryan Holmes. This is what I do. This is what I do. Anyways, I just wanted to let everybody know that we're at almost $4 million worth of investor intros in general. And in the last 40 minutes, we've had 22 intro requests as well. So we're doing amazing. Keep investing, keep requesting intros, everybody.
Keep hyping it, Melissa. I love it. Swish, can you talk a little bit about the tech that you guys have built out? I know you have your browser extension is really popular. Security and privacy are going to be a big part of what you're doing and how you're thinking about this and safeguarding.
Yeah, I think that's where Andrew's background really comes into play, right? His entire background before working on Surf was being within network security. And so I think it's worth noting a few things there. Like number one, any data we do collect, we do actually do one more scrub of that data to make sure that no personal information was kind of caught in there, like emails, for example, that might be caught in your browser history. We don't want that, for example, to be shared or be put into our repository. So we do one more scrub to make sure that we are fully anonymizing any data that we do share with brands. On the privacy side as well, it's worth noting that we've done a pretty good job, in my opinion, of building a piece of technology where if we do need to have somebody delete their account, request their data, or delete their data altogether because we are GDPR compliant, they're able to do so in a matter that's incredibly quick and automated. They don't have to wait for somebody to come back to them in 1 or 2 weeks and say, okay, your account is now deleted. So I think, we've done a really good job of categorizing our data and then being able to allow people to immediately control what they do and don't want to share. And if they want to delete their data altogether, they can do that at any point as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like with your waitlist, you've got an amazing wave of things you can do. Your tech stack, how scalable is it for you before you have to build more add-ons?
Incredibly scalable. I mean, I was talking to Andrew about this last week, even we've done a really good job across our AWS to be able to prepare for even having 1 million users and not having a drastic increase in costs, especially amongst servers. So we've done a good job of hiring a DevOps individual within our existing internal team now. It's not something we have to rely on an agency for anymore. And Thomas has been doing a fantastic work to make sure that even as our user growth scales, like let's say next month, we get another 100,000 or 150,000 users, we're not going to see a drastic spike in our server costs going up month over month.
Awesome. Thanks, Swish. Did his jump shot get ranked, by the way? I just wanted to make sure.
I think it was. Honestly, Manny is a hater, in my opinion, of my jump shot because it's way more beautiful than his. But that's all I'll say. That's the last thing I'll say.
Next week, I'm seeing Swish, so the next commentary could be who's going to win the next contest between him and I. And we'll actually post it on Instagram video so you can all see.
Follow up. Amazing. Thanks so much.
Wait on bated breaths.
Thank you so much, Swish. All right, so now we have our last presenter. So inclusive snacking is her game. O Foods is her name. She's a Forbes 30 under 30. She's a powerhouse. She's already in 1,800 stores across Canada. I've heard her pitch. It's incredible. And in the words of the other Brittany, pitch me baby one more time. So let's give it up for Brittany from O Foods.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much for that intro. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Brittany. I'm the founder of O Foods. We make allergen-friendly snacks that are vegan and gluten-free, making the world a little sweeter and a lot safer through inclusive snacking. So every 3 minutes, someone is rushed to the hospital for a food allergy reaction. And at 18 years old, this became my reality. I was having a family movie night when all of a sudden my throat closed and I was rushed to the hospital. I began to create my own snacks and, encouraged by my mom, launched one to the market. And now you can find us in 1,800 retailers. When we look at the importance of inclusive snacking, 1 in 10 individuals have a food allergy, 40% of those with a food allergy have more than one, and the allergen-friendly market will scale to $108 billion by 2030. With that being said, we at O Foods focus on 3 target markets. So we focus on parents with school-aged children, individuals with food allergies, and active individuals as well. So welcome to Inclusive Snacking. Through Inclusive Snacking, we focus on innovating nostalgic treats that you know and love, but are better for you and completely allergen-friendly, vegan, and gluten-free. Currently, we have Canada's first and only better for you frosting and edible cookie dough, and along with our snacking bites. Since launching in 2018, beginning with Yoga Studios, we have launched into 1,800 retailers across Canada, such as Walmart Canada, Healthy Planet, Bed Bath & Beyond, Whole Foods, Body Energy Club, and in 2023, we'll be launching into Loblaws, followed by going into the USA. By 2024, by 2023, these are some of the retailer accounts that we are hoping to close. We're in conversations with a few of them, but if anyone has any connections, I would love and appreciate being introduced. So in the last 12 months, this is what we've achieved. I became Forbes 30 under 30. I ended up launching into distribution with KeHE in the USA. I won Startup Fest, which gave me about $100,000 in investment. And then we launched into Walmart Canada. First, we started off with 180 stores, and just recently they launched us into the rest of their stores, totaling 400. Stores there. And then we also launched in with Unify Canada, allowing us to really have national distribution. So far we've raised about $500,000, and we've gotten that through BDC, LOI Ventures, and Startup Fest. This helped us with our retail acquisition, building our team, building out with our co-manufacturer, and then also focusing in on our innovation. Coming up, we're getting ready to launch. We're getting ready to raise an additional $500,000, and we've reserved $100,000 for stonk investors. So this will help us with launching into the USA with a strategic partner, improving our unit economics, and then improving our retail and online marketing. So this is our amazing team. We are a diverse team of women building out what inclusive snacking could look like globally. And thank you guys so much. We're super excited to have you along our journey.
Oh, Brittany, Oh Foods, what a pitch. Let's hear from our judges.
Brittany,
Tara, this is all you. You got to go on this one.
we'll just sit back.
Wheelhouse. Yeah. Hey, Brittany. Congrats. Congrats on your adventure. I have been following your journey for a while now, so congrats on everything. When the product's on shelf, how are you conveying your value proposition in that 3 seconds or less so consumers know why O Foods is different than the other products they're sitting next to?
Yeah, good question. So we do a couple of things. Focusing in on our marketing of shelf talkers or even displays that we have on store floors. And so whether that be our boxes that are sitting on the shelf, they convey inclusive snacking right around them. And then our shelf talkers really help us convey really quickly what we have. So on them, we kind of boldly put Canada's first and only edible cookie, better for you edible cookie dough, or relive your nostalgic moments really quickly for people. And that's so far how we've been marketing our products.
Got it. And what's the split of the business between e-com and wholesale?
Yeah, so right now it's mostly wholesale, and then we just started to do some e-com business.
What's your revenue right now, Brittany?
Yeah, so right now we're a 6-figure business, and we're hopefully by the end of this year we should be about 7-figure business.
Great.
On the question of e-commerce, Brittany, how do you see that growing? Do you see it being kind of lower percentage, or about 50% of your revenue split over time? And Tara, because you're an expert on this category, I'd love to hear how that played out for you as well, just to benchmark.
Yeah. So right now we are focused in on e-com and really making sure that it makes sense, shipping it in Canada and finding the right model for us. So we've modeled out a little bit of difference options right now with our frosting that we just launched. We ended up doing PR kits and building out that model and then seeing how that could work for us. But I think what we realized, like selling one-off products doesn't, like on our e-com wasn't the best, and selling in packages helped us. So like cases of 4 or 5. And then also it upped the cart for us. Like we thought for us on our side, we're like, okay, well, people have to buy like $100 worth of frosting or snacking bites or cookie dough. That might be an issue, but it actually upped our carts and our average cart rate. So that's helped with us so far.
Are all your products shelf stable?
So our edible cookie dough can stay to the fridge for 60 days, and then the other products are shelf stable.
Got it. And how have you been tackling with retailers having different products in different categories and managing the different buyers instead of having one for all of your products?
Yeah. I think it just allows us to have, so far, like with having different categories, it just allows us to have a bigger presence in terms of like what markets we go into. So whenever we launch into a category, I really focus on like what are snacks that are not on the market so that we can really get in there. So when it comes to like cookie dough, for example, when we look at like stores like Body Energy Club, we're like the only ones on shelf because we're the only option at the moment that's like truly better for you. So I feel like for me, like having different categories hasn't been like a downside. It's just added more, like especially with inclusive snacking and just allowing people to have different options. It's just added to it for us.
Can you just give a brief overview of the current products you have, and then what are you launching here in the next 12, if anything, in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yes. So currently we have our frosting, which is just like a Betty Crocker, but better for you. So simple ingredients, no artificial flavors or ingredients in there. And then it's also like gluten-free, allergen-friendly, vegan. Then we have our edible cookie dough. So with our edible cookie dough, we focused in on the ingredients again and making sure like even from our sprinkles, it was just like they're made with beets and spinach instead of it being like artificial sprinkles in there. And then there's flaxseed and oat flour. So you're able to eat it raw or bake it into a cookie. And then we have our snacking bites, which are in Walmart Canada, nationwide. And those are basically just date-based snacks. They come in apple pie and then coconut brownie. And then in the next 12 months, we're really focused in on line extensions and extending what we have right now. So we won't be launching new innovations. We'll just be focusing in on like new flavors and profiles there.
I never actually thought spinach would be delicious, but I've had some products, and you did a great job there. I'm going to hide those for my kids, and when they're eating the foods, they think it's more sugar.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Tara, it's almost like, your other questions you're asking, it's almost like you scaled an incredibly successful the snacking food business yourself. Interesting. And so I'd like, a final comment about Brittany. There's a really well-known Quebec billionaire who's also invested in O Foods. And one thing he said to me was that out of all these founders I've met in the past little while, Brittany is somebody who can scale a company to $1 billion. And coming from an actual billionaire who scaled a company to $1 billion, I think we should all take his word for it. So this is your chance to get in on this amazing investment deal. So far in the past hour, we've had over $4.5 million of investor interest and 26 intros. So great job, Brittany. Great job, all of our presenters today. And to our judges and our special guest judge, Tara Bosch from SmartSweets, thank you so much. And just a reminder, League of Innovators, incredible community and accelerator where we help support and scale founders under 30. You can reach us at hello@loi.vc. We're also on Instagram, LOI Venture, LOI Accelerator on Instagram and Twitter. So feel free to drop us an email. Thank you so much, everybody, for an incredible demo day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Take care.